Every great betrayal begins with a moment that feels completely safe. The person who eventually breaks your trust rarely announces their intentions. They smile, they agree with you, they make you feel comfortable. That is why the biggest mistake most people make is not trusting the wrong person. It is trusting too quickly before they have enough evidence to know who that person truly is. Words are easy to create. First impressions are easy to control. A convincing personality can hide selfish motives for weeks, months, or even years. Yet human behavior leaves clues long before the truth becomes obvious. The people who seem impossible to fool are rarely luckier than everyone else. They simply notice details that others ignore. They pay attention to patterns instead of promises. They watch actions instead of speeches. They understand that trust is earned through consistency, never through charm alone. Modern psychology has revealed that our brains often make decisions about people within seconds, but those instant judgments are influenced by emotions, personal experiences, and unconscious biases. That means confidence can be mistaken for competence, friendliness can be confused with honesty, and charisma can quietly disguise manipulation. This is one of the hidden reasons intelligent people sometimes find themselves disappointed by someone they believe they knew. The human mind naturally searches for comfort, and comfort often encourages us to overlook warning signs that later become impossible to ignore. That is why learning to read people is not a talent reserved for detective psychologists or experts in body language. It is a practical life skill that protects your peace, your relationships, your career, and even your future. Throughout history, successful leaders, negotiators, and influential thinkers have understood one simple truth. People always reveal themselves, but rarely all at once. Small habits, tiny reactions, unexpected choices, and repeated behaviors quietly expose character in ways that carefully chosen words never can. The challenge is that most people are watching for dramatic moments while the real answers hide inside ordinary ones. A casual conversation, a delayed reply, the way someone treats a stranger, their response to disappointment, or the promises they consistently fail to keep can reveal more about their true personality than hours of conversation ever could. These signals are easy to miss because they rarely arrive with warning signs. They appear quietly, almost invisibly, and only those who know what to look for recognize their meaning before it is too late. That single skill can mean the difference between building relationships that strengthen your life and walking into situations that slowly drain your energy, confidence, and happiness. Trust affects every part of life. It shapes friendships, romantic relationships, business partnerships, workplaces, financial decisions, and opportunities that may change your future. One accurate judgment can open doors that lead to years of success, while one careless decision can create problems that last far longer than expected. This is exactly why the ability to read people has become one of the most valuable forms of emotional intelligence. In this video, you will discover why actions consistently speak louder than words, why first impressions can quietly mislead even the smartest people, and why the smallest behavioral patterns often reveal the biggest truth. You will learn how emotionally intelligent people observe others without becoming suspicious of everyone around them. You will understand why consistency is one of the strongest signs of genuine character, and why repeated actions predict future behavior far better than confident promises. You will also uncover subtle psychological principles that help explain why manipulative individuals often appear trustworthy in the beginning, and why truly reliable people usually earn trust gradually instead of demanding it immediately. Along the way, you will learn how emotional control reveals maturity, why respect towards strangers says more than polished conversations, how contradictions expose hidden intentions, and why patience is one of the greatest advantages when deciding who deserves a place in your life. Each lesson builds on the previous one, creating a practical framework that you can use every day without becoming cynical or fearful. The goal is never to judge people unfairly. The goal is to understand human behavior more clearly, so your decisions become wiser and your relationships become stronger. There is one insight near the end of this video that quietly changes the way many people think about trust forever. It explains why some individuals seem to avoid toxic relationships again and again, while others continue repeating the same painful experiences despite having good intentions. Once you understand this principle, many confusing moments from your own life may suddenly make much more sense. You may even recognize patterns that have been present around you for years without realizing their importance. That is why staying until the very end is worth your time, because every section connects to the next and reveals another piece of the puzzle. By the time this video is over, you will look at conversations differently, notice behaviors that once escaped your attention, and develop a calmer, more confident way of deciding who truly deserves your trust. You will stop relying only on feelings in the moment and begin recognizing the quiet evidence that people reveal through everyday actions. Those small observations often protect us far more effectively than quick assumptions ever can. Welcome to Apex Aura, the place where psychology, emotional intelligence, confidence, and self-improvement come together to help you see the world with greater clarity and make smarter decisions every day. If you enjoy learning practical lessons that strengthen your mindset, improve your relationships, and help you understand people on a deeper level, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our growing community. Now, let's uncover the hidden psychology behind reading people like a book before you trust them. The first mistake most people make is believing that a single conversation can reveal someone's true character. A confident voice can sound convincing. A warm smile can feel sincere. A person can speak with certainty, make bold promises, and leave an unforgettable first impression. Yet none of these things prove who they really are. Human beings naturally want to be liked, and because of that, most people show their best side when meeting someone new. This is called impression management in psychology. People consciously and unconsciously adjust their behavior to create a favorable image. That does not automatically mean they are dishonest. It simply means that first impressions often show intention more than character. Character becomes visible only after enough time has passed for repeated behavior to replace carefully managed appearances. This is why patient observers are rarely surprised by people. They never allow one pleasant conversation to become the foundation of complete trust. Instead, they collect small pieces of evidence over time. They notice whether today's words still match tomorrow's actions and whether next month's behavior still reflects the same values. The truth about a person is rarely hidden forever. It simply appears slowly. Think about someone who always says they value honesty. Those words sound impressive, but words alone carry very little weight until they are tested. If that same person admits small mistakes instead of hiding them, speaks truth even when it feels uncomfortable, and remains honest even when honesty offers no immediate reward, then those repeated actions begin to create real credibility. The same principle applies to loyalty, kindness, generosity, and responsibility. Anyone can promise support during a calm conversation. The real question is whether they remain supportive when life becomes difficult. Anyone can claim they care about others. The real evidence appears in everyday decisions that receive little attention. Patterns create confidence because they reduce uncertainty. A single action may be an accident. Repeated actions usually reveal a habit, and habits reveal character far better than carefully chosen words ever can. One of the strongest indicators of trustworthiness is consistency. Reliable people do not need to constantly convince others that they are reliable. Their actions quietly speak for them. They arrive when they say they will. They respond when they make a commitment. They remember responsibilities without constant reminders. They remain respectful even when circumstances change. This kind of consistency builds trust naturally because the brain begins recognizing predictable behavior. Psychology explains that people feel safer around those whose behavior remains stable over time because predictability reduces uncertainty. When actions repeatedly match expectations, confidence grows without force. That is why genuine trust feels calm instead of rushed. It develops through many ordinary moments that quietly confirm the same message again and again. Now consider the opposite situation. Someone repeatedly cancels plans at the last minute. Their explanations change every time. They apologize with convincing words, but the same pattern continues week after week. At first, each excuse sounds reasonable. Eventually, the excuses become less important than the pattern itself. This illustrates one of the biggest lessons in reading people. Individual events deserve understanding. Repeated behavior deserves attention. Patient observation allows patterns to become visible, while quick emotional decisions often keep those patterns hidden. Another powerful way to understand someone's character is by watching how they treat people who cannot improve their status or offer personal benefits. This is one of the oldest yet most overlooked signs of genuine character. Notice how someone speaks to a waiter during a busy meal. Watch their attitude toward a receptionist handling a difficult schedule. Observe how they respond to a stranger asking a simple question, a child making an innocent mistake, or an elderly person moving more slowly than expected. These moments often receive very little attention because they seem ordinary, yet they quietly reveal personal values. Respect that depends on status is usually performant. Respect that remains constant regardless of the situation is much closer to genuine character. People who truly value kindness rarely switch personalities depending on who stands in front of them. Their behavior stays remarkably similar whether they are speaking to a manager, a cashier, a cleaner, or a close friend. They understand that every person deserves basic dignity. This kind of consistency cannot easily be performed forever because it reflects deeply held beliefs rather than temporary impressions. Psychology suggests that when there is no obvious reward for behaving well, actions become stronger indicators of authentic values. In simple terms, people reveal who they are most clearly when they believe nobody important is watching. Those quiet moments often contain more truth than public displays of generosity or carefully planned acts of kindness. The next clue appears when life becomes uncomfortable. Almost everyone appears calm when everything goes according to plan. It is easy to smile during success. It is easy to remain patient when every expectation is being met. Pressure changes everything. A delayed appointment, unexpected criticism, traffic, technical problems, disagreement during a discussion, or a simple inconvenience can quickly expose emotional habits that remain hidden during comfortable situations. Emotional control is one of the strongest signs of maturity because it reflects the ability to manage reactions instead of becoming controlled by them. This does not mean emotionally mature people never feel frustration. They simply choose their response instead of allowing emotion to make every decision. Stress affects the human brain in powerful ways. During pressure, automatic habits become stronger because people have less mental energy available to maintain carefully managed behavior. That is why difficult moments often reveal qualities that ordinary conversations cannot. Someone who remains respectful during disappointment demonstrates self-control. Someone who accepts constructive criticism without becoming defensive shows confidence instead of insecurity. Someone who handles failure with responsibility instead of blaming everyone else reveals emotional strength that words alone could never prove. Small moments of pressure often provide clearer information than long conversations during peaceful conditions. As you continue observing people, another pattern begins to matter. Small contradictions rarely deserve immediate judgment. Everyone forgets details occasionally. Everyone changes opinions after learning new information. Human beings are imperfect. The goal is never to search for isolated mistakes. The goal is to recognize repeated inconsistencies that slowly create a larger picture. A story that changes every time it is told deserves attention. Excuses that constantly shift to fit new circumstances deserve attention. Promises that are repeated but never fulfilled deserve attention. Opinions that completely change depending on the audience deserve attention. One contradiction may simply reflect human memory. Many contradictions often suggest that image has become more important than honesty. Reliable individuals usually remain reasonably consistent because they are guided by stable values rather than changing situations. Their opinions develop gradually instead of changing dramatically with every conversation. Their explanations remain similar because they have little reason to invent new versions. Consistency creates trust because it reflects internal stability. Inconsistency creates uncertainty because people never know which version of the person they will meet next. That uncertainty slowly weakens confidence, even when no major conflict has occurred yet. And once you begin recognizing these subtle patterns, another equally powerful skill becomes essential, because sometimes the greatest truths are discovered by speaking less and listening far more carefully. Every person you meet is telling a story. The difference is that some stories are spoken with words, while the most important parts are written through actions. By slowing down and paying attention, you give yourself the chance to see the truth before emotions make the decision for you. Today, you've learned that real trust is never built on a single conversation or a charming first impression. It grows through patterns. It grows through consistency. It grows through repeated actions that remain the same even when nobody is watching. You learn to watch how people treat those who have nothing to offer them, to notice how they respond under pressure, to recognize small contradictions before they become major problems, to listen more than you speak, to respect healthy boundaries, and to measure people by what they repeatedly do instead of what they promise. The people who rarely get deceived are not born with a special gift. They are not mind readers. They simply refuse to rush. They understand that time is one of the greatest truth detectors. Masks become difficult to wear forever. Habits become impossible to hide forever. Character always finds a way to reveal itself through everyday choices. Once you begin looking for these patterns, you'll notice details that most people overlook. Your decisions will become wiser. Your relationships will become stronger. Your confidence will grow because your trust will be based on evidence instead of emotion. Remember this powerful lesson whenever you meet someone new. Feelings can appear in a moment, but trust should always be earned over time. If you enjoyed this video and want to master psychology, emotional intelligence, confidence, and the hidden principles of human behavior, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss our next video. Give this video a like if you found it valuable, and share it with your friends and family because one insight could help someone avoid years of disappointment. Finally, tell us in the comments, what is the biggest lesson you've learned about trusting people? We read every comment, and your experience might inspire someone else. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.